Get some more people at the table, a seat at the table, besides church attorneys. Because in following simply church attorneys, children are being harmed. Children are dying. Children are dying. But anyways, did you have something else to add?
Another thing I am concerned about is purity culture.
Yeah.
When a girl gets raped, it's, well, was she drinking? What was she wearing? Where was she? What kind of a activity was she involved in? Was she in a boy's apartment? Was she at a party? Women, no. You park your car under a streetlight. You hold your keys in your hand as you go out to your car. Protect yourself. You try to go around in groups. You are, especially as a survivor, I'm hyper vigilant about things. Why don't we teach our boys, don't rape?
That would be a good start. We need to have more honest conversations about abuse. In our conversation Monday, I did ask that they would make it a part of the culture to discuss abuse, not just sexual abuse, but also bullying and those types of abuse. They're going to have lessons on, drinking the word of wisdom once a year at least, and throughout the year. Also, there's a lot of chastity lessons. And during those policy meetings I had with church leaders, I specifically asked them to place abuse as the third leg of that of what's important. It is, and to make abusing somebody a serious matter. So, I believe these are good policy moves, and I'm going to tell you, the professionals out there are going to agree with me. Mental health professionals are going to agree with me, not Curtin McConkey. They're going to agree with me. Also, abuse prevention experts, they're going to agree with me, not with Curtin McConkey. Why don't you put some of these other advisors on your board around the table to hear their input so that you can come out with a healthy policy that protects children, but also protects the church too. I understand you got to protect the church, but the way you're doing it now is not helping.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that is something that should be taught. Children need to know boundaries, and when I was working with Klapperisch Survivor, we got a grant from the health department, injury prevention department at the health department, to teach boundaries to middle school kids. And we went to the Salt Lake Arts Academy, and we had 6 lessons on boundaries. And we decided that because the kids have their teachers every day and they listen to their teachers, it would be better if the teachers gave the lessons rather than us, outsiders coming in. One of the things we did was we laid a measuring tape on the floor. We had one kid at one end, one kid at the other end, and the third one was taking notes. And what we would have is one of the kids would walk toward the other one, and when the one standing still said stop, that's when they would stop, because that was as close as that person wanted them to get. And then the person would write down, and then they would switch roles. Well, what we found out was the person standing still also had a comfort zone. And sometimes people were getting too close. And kids had no idea that other people had other boundaries. Other people were uncomfortable with people touching them, hugging them, doing all these kinds of things. But we need to teach kids boundaries.
Yes. I think we can all learn boundaries, and maybe, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. Is it possible I've never done anything, boundary-wise, but maybe I just didn't know. Maybe I stand too close to somebody or gave them a hug when they didn't want one. I just don't, maybe I've been ignorant and lazy learner on this at times, I actually asked Katie, if it was okay to give her a hug when I first met her, just to make sure. I'm learning to understand boundaries. I'm trying to be a better man and improve. And I'm asking President Nelson to do that for the entire church. To, as we progress and have a greater knowledge, to do better, right? And as individuals, we should be doing that. We should be seeking to do better and understand people's boundaries and to be a better person. But the church it's the same thing with the church. It should be a living, breathing church that is seeking to improve every day, not to be the curators of a museum of ideas that were, 1,000 years ago. We should be also mixed with that a living, breathing church where we're learning to be better and more spiritual and developing, progressing. The law of Moses was not the full rules given to Moses, was it? What happened to those first batch of tablets that were given to Moses? They were thrown down because what they realized is the people were not ready for the higher knowledge quite yet. So they were given a lower understanding that people could live. But as the spirituality of the people, of the church, in this case the Jewish belief, as it advanced, then a greater truth and the prophet brought a greater truth, and God gave the prophet a better truth to follow. So this is what we're asking for, President Nelson, is, look, we're not doing everything in the law of Moses anymore either, are we? No, we've left that behind, and maybe these worthiness interviews were believed to be good for the time, but in today's world, we're realizing these are harmful. So as a prophet, you're supposed to be bringing us in, progressing our spirituality and leading the spirituality with a more thoughtful policy to protect children and also to develop the spirituality of the children. But what you're doing now is harming them. It's harming them.